Okay, this segment is going to cover fixing this Italeri Cavalry, Confederate Cavalry flag holder. And just like before, it's really just a question of patience. And when you get one done, you understand the parameters, and then you can do many more. It's only taking time now because I'm showing it, like I said before, I'm showing it on video. And it takes longer because I got to be cognizant of, the camera position and all this kind of stuff. And so it takes a little longer to do it this way. So that's what, and I appreciate you bearing with me while I do this. You can see all the things that went into doing this. First of all, this is the plastic bristle from a shop broom, which is the secret. If anybody wants to know what the secret is to pikes and standards, poles, flag poles that don't break but bend, don't use metal, don't use rods, don't use extruded brass. Get the proper shop broom bristles. And one shop broom, when you find the right thickness, as long as they're relatively round bristles, can last for 100,000 years, 1 billion years. One single shop broom will last forever. There's so many bristles. There's there's thousands of bristles in a single head. And once you've got one, you can use it just forever, it seems. So here's our guy. Now the question is, and again, this is the Italeri Cavalry. I don't know if putting him on, putting him on a running horse is better than a walking horse. Probably this galloping one leg forward business, I suppose, is okay. Let me check the rest of the inventory to see, just to make sure that I haven't skipped. Well, here's a horse that's rearing up. Horses in various stages of galloping with other soldiers, swords in the air. This kind of thing, by the way, is, as they've said in a couple of different kits, I think Gulliver, The use of sabers is so rare that it's almost silly to include the soldiers using the saber. It did happen, sure, but predominantly it was very rare. So what happens is, because you situations and scenarios won't likely do it. By the way, this is the flag I cut off. I keep them. I shouldn't bother, but I keep them anyway. There's no reason to throw them away. Anyway, here's an example. So there's our flag guy. Here's our flag guy. And so he's done. Sorry, again, I had to make sure I had the right camera angle. Okay, so there he is. He's done. Looks good, right? Everything's fine. Glued on there. So, oops, wait a minute. Actually, you know what? He's not glued on. Okay, now he's glued on. Okay, and by the way, so here's the other thing. The guy who is looking to his right side, okay, so he's running into a midst of the enemy and he's now slashing away. Well, okay, I suppose, but let's do something a little different. Let's turn that guy swishing. This is how he's cast. This is how we change him. So that's how he's cast. And this is how we changed him. Okay, so we snip him at the waist and we mount him back on his legs, and then we mount him on the horse. Now, one thing to particular pay attention with this kind of situation is the saber and the carbine. Okay, so his hand, I should say. You want to cut that hand, you want to cut that carbine, and then cut the waist. I'll demonstrate off camera because it's a lot easier. Cutting that carbine off of his leg is a little hard to do because one slip, and I'll probably do it now. One slip and you'll cut that carbine. It's very thin. Carbines are just really... Again, just score along his leg. Let me show you. So just score along his leg, follow the carbine until you get through it. Don't try and just cut it. Just keep scoring with a good knife until you get through it. Okay, see, now I'm through. And then when you get done, there may be a little flash piece that you got there like this. Just cut that off. Okay, so now he's ready to be cut. His arm is free. Is it? Yeah, okay, his arm is free, and now I'm ready to cut through the waist. So that's just like boom. Now to do this, make sure you don't cut into the carbine. So it's slippery. Remember, it's plastic. So get that in there, get the knife in there, perforate it a little bit at a time, no rush, until you get through his body. And you're going to have to straighten his waist because the cut is at an angle, it's not perfect. So there he is, he's coming off. Okay, now you only need to do this a couple of times, right? There's only 2 guys in there. And you don't need more than a box for an entire army because, I mean, it's Civil War. Cavalry just, you know, isn't that big of a deal. It's true, okay? And I'm a fan of the Civil War, and I don't like saying that, but it's true. Okay, so then there's our guy. We're going to turn him and put him back together. And usually, you know what? You can't even notice. It's a beautiful thing. And yes, that's hot glue. Sometimes you take too much time, like I think I may have just taken too much time to do that, and the glue has already solidified. We'll find out when we put them together. Okay, not going to worry about it too much. Let's see what he's like when we put him on a horse. Let's take a horse that's kind of in a gallop. Now see, there's that leg right there from the sprue. I'm going to cut that off. And the horse, the saddle, again the sprue remains. Got to cut that off. Trim it. You could use a Dremel, but if you've got a pretty good knife, like I said, not the number 11. I think what this is number 16. These blades I used to use in newspaper production. Okay, the guy's ready to go on the horse. He's leaning back a little bit. It's not too bad. I kind of like that. So you see, it didn't really take that much. And again, once you get used to doing it once, you can do it a couple of times, and then you're done. But the results speak for themselves, because the guy's much nicer looking than how he was cast. Okay, you get the idea. Much nicer results. And that's it. And we'll continue mounting the rest of the cavalry and come back when we start painting them.